Hello everyone, my dear Pythonesses. We continue our journey to object-oriented programming with Python. And let me remind you, basically, in the first four lessons, we covered the foundation. What is a class? What is a method? Data members, instance variables, static members, um, encapsulation, how to hide data, how to provide safer access to the data members. So this is basic stuff, foundation. Now the next question is, how can I develop if I have one class or a set of classes? How to advance, how to make them more sophisticated, more capable. That's sometimes what we called object-oriented design, reuse classes. And we are going to cover two different, let's say, strategies to reuse existing classes. One is called composition, which is today's topic, and second is called inheritance, which is tomorrow topic. Let's try composition first. Let's say I already have a class rectangle. As you see, it can grow, it can shrink, it can be drawn. There are basically three essential methods we may apply to rectangle instances. And I decided to create a more advanced, now 3D object, and I call it box. And it's going to consist of six planes, six different rectangles. We can still develop for the box class grow and shrink method, but in order to make it simpler and shorter, we're not going to create draw method for the box. Instead, we're going to create a special method str to print boxes, to show the boxes content. So, composition is basically um, technique to include into a new class existing objects as instance variables. So we use as instance variables existing objects. Let's take a look at the coding. So this is something we covered in the previous lessons. I encourage everybody to type, to try. So this is rectangle class. You see static members, the limits. You see static method help. You see constructor. Um, it does the validation. It does the checkup of the dimensions. We have getter property. We have a setter for the width. We have the same properties for the height and setter for the height to provide a safer access to data. And you see essential methods draw, shrink, and grow, shrink, and draw. But draw was actually split. We did drawing in three steps. So draw top, draw middle, and draw bottom. They are rather technical methods. They are just to help us to draw the rectangle. Okay, so that's done, that's good. Now, how to compose, how to build a box using rectangle class. You see again in a constructor, I have 6 instance variables. So I have a box at the front, I have a box at the back, sorry, I have a rectangle at the front, line 6. I have the same size rectangle at the back. I have rectangles on the left, on the right, and lines 10, 11 on the top and on the bottom. So you see now my instance variables are objects. So I have to initialize them. You see what happens in my box constructor? I call 6 rectangle constructors. I can grow. What I do basically in my grow method, I call grow method on different rectangles. I can shrink them. And finally, I provided a method str. Pay attention, it's double underscore before and double underscore after. So what str method does, and by the way, it's quite useful, you may provide it for many of your classes, it returns us the description, the info about the object. And if you have such a method, str method, then library function print can print your objects. Let's take a look now at the test. So obviously, in my box class, I have to mention my rectangle class because box is based on rectangle. You see line number 1, I importing from rectangle all the stuff. And of course, in my test, I have to connect now box class. And what I do in line 3, I create a box with 3 dimensions, width 4, height 5, depth 6. I print a box because I have str method. And also what you can see in lines 7, 8, 9, and 10, how to access object within an object. You see, you need now 2 qualifier. So for example, if I want to call draw method on one of the 6 rectangles, I have to first retrieve the rectangle using qualifier, and then I have to call the method using a second qualifier. So technically speaking, if you nest too much, if you use composition a lot, you may end up having long expressions with many qualifiers. So let's try it. So what I expect here, I want to see the box description. And what I expect here, I want to see my front rectangle to be drawn and my left rectangle to be drawn. The character is vertical line. So for box class, we use as a outline character vertical line. Sometimes we call this symbol pipe. Okay, let's do it. Let's test. Let's delete extra lines. And you see everything is working smoothly. Box was instantiated. Remember, box constructor is calling six rectangle constructors. I see the description of the box, str method, and I see my rectangle methods still good. I can still use methods defined in my older class rectangle. So this is very important technique. After we finish this course in a couple of lessons, we are going to practice, we are going to apply object-oriented concepts to real-life programming. We are going to create some simple, not console windows, real-life applications, and you will see how often we use composition in our real-life challenges. Please support the channel by your subscriptions, your likes, your comments, and all the best. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.